everybody. Welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Joining me, as always, my co-conspirator, Nick Felice. And Nick, normally I ask you how you're doing and everything, but we have breaking sports news going on, as it kind of happens every now and then with us. But Damian Lillard, no longer a Portland Trailblazer.
Yeah, we are the first to break the news. We beat Woj.
Not completely true.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with Lillard. Sounds pretty happy. A little disappointed to go to Paul's Miami Heat, but the Portland Trailblazers wanted the whole real estate of Miami, it seems like.
Yeah. Likewise, I'm also disappointed. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, I figured the Miami thing was gonna happen. Then Portland just wants a lot of different. They just want too much from Miami. And I think it was just a little bit of they're upset that that's where Dame wanted to be at the end of the day, and that's all right. So, as I said on Twitter just now, or X, there's a reason why they only will have one banner still for a while, so we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting, though. I mean, the part that catches me off guard is Milwaukee. I don't know what they're planning here. I mean, there's some growing thoughts that Giannis might not be a Buck forever. So I don't know. It tells me that they're probably going to go ahead and at least go for the fence, swing for the fences one more time here this year. That's my assumption anyway with this trade.
It won't affect my day. I went golfing this morning. Shot a 99, just below 100. Beat that. Survivor season 45 starts tonight. Big Brother is halfway through the season, so yeah, everything's going well. Can't really care where Damian Lillard goes. I mean, I don't know if the Bucks really improved that much, but it's definitely a big add to add a star. But it's just in today's game, you just can't build super teams. You got to build a bench. And I mean, I've only slightly heard what the trade was, but it sounded like they traded most of their team away for this guy. So we'll see what happens in Milwaukee. That's really all I got to say about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting quotes already kind of being said and done at the moment, so who knows. Before we get any further, thank a couple of our sponsors, including Generations Bank. Generations Bank has been serving our community since 1870. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. And, oh geez, where'd I go? There we go. Dewey's Tavern. There we go. Found it. Dewey's within walking distance from downtown Saginaw Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge. Play quick draw lottery, 19 televisions for all your sporting events, great food for lunch or dinner, bocce, dart, and pool leagues. Check them out online at deweysthirdward.com. So, yeah, there's that. We'll obviously update this Dame situation as we keep kind of going through here, but let's begin with the NFL, Nick. Last week, I classified it as a drunk week in the NFL just by you look at some of the scores and some of the highlights, and I kind of want to start here. I think I have my major hot take of the century. Russell Wilson's a system quarterback. I mean, I don't know what the deal is in Denver. I mean, I know the whole entire Sean Payton thing, but man, at this point, is it any different than last year with Nathaniel Hackett? I don't think so. So, I mean, wow.
Did the Broncos cover the spread?
They did not. They didn't cover anything.
Did they get the over in that game?
They barely covered themselves, Nick.
They get the over in that game?
Nick, come on now. They got the over. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, Russ just... I know a lot of it gets pinned on him. And you can't blame all 70 points, obviously, on Russ. He doesn't play defense, right? But, like, the amount of stuff he's talked and everything like that, and the way this team was supposed to be threatening the Chiefs this year again, Denver Broncos... looking like it.
Not to jump ahead, but how bad do the Bears have to be a 3-point underdog at home to this Broncos team that just gave up 70 points? I mean, the Bears did give up 40 points themselves on Sunday. Even though the talk about that game was T. Swift, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm talking about Jason Kelsey and DeAndre Swift, but did you see that photo?
I did.
That was pretty coincidence, I guess you could say. But Broncos are terrible. I knew they were terrible last year at the start of the year. I agree at some point that saying Russell Wilson is assistant quarterback because he could have been. Played on some great defensive Seahawks teams that won the one Super Bowl, should have won two. If it wasn't for Russell Wilson, they would have won two. But is he a system quarterback? Is that what you're asking me?
I mean, that's my take.
I think he was so talented that I can't fully agree with you. I can see where the point comes across. It makes people wonder, but I just won't say that yet. Denver's just got a lot of problems. But sure, Miami scored a lot of points on Sunday. But this Miami Dolphins offense could be arguably one of the best offenses we've seen in quite a while.
Uh-huh.
It is absolutely dynamite. Everything seems to be clicking. I think Tua, your brother, big Dolphins fan, is high on him right now. But Tua is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. He's just so accurate. He knows when to throw the ball. He can run when he has to. A little scary when he does run. But, the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill was a big loss for the Chiefs. Right now, Pat Mahomes, wish he could have a little bit of a extra weapon out there. And then they didn't even have Jalen Waddle playing on Sunday. So
Correct.
It's scary how good this offense can be. Their defense is going to be their biggest question. They played against the Broncos, so they did all right. Even though they still give up 20-something points, but I don't know. I'm taking away. What I'm taking from this game, I'm taking more away from the Dolphins than really the Broncos. I already know the Broncos suck. The Dolphins just keep impressing me every single week, so I'm going to take away the Dolphins more from this game than the Broncos and Russell Wilson and Sean Payton and all his excuses that he's already made, that he made at the beginning of the year with Nathaniel Hackett. It's all his mess and stuff. Broncos are a mess. They're not going anywhere. I don't care about the Broncos. I'd like to visit Denver someday, but the Broncos, I don't care. But was there a question you asked me?
You just kept going
I'm rambling on about Denver here.
You are.
Was there a question?
I think we were just more or less talking about that game in particular and how I had my hot take about Russell Wilson being a system quarterback. You then turned into me asking you the question about him being a system quarterback.
That's a good question.
You mentioned how you didn't care if you ever watched the Broncos, but you wanted to go to Denver, and now we ended up here. Oh, I forgot the Bears being a 3-point home dog to Denver this week. Yeah. So, are you okay? Maybe that's my question at this point. Are you okay?
Yeah, the Broncos are terrible. Stop bringing them up.
Okay, all right. Jeez, sorry for talking about history. I do want to talk about the Arizona Cardinals in a weird way because, look.
Great win.
They upset the Cowboys, but, and this is a point that I didn't, right? But you don't realize it until it's actually said and put in front of you. But, they took Washington deep in the game. They took, obviously, the Giants to pretty much the limit. This is a plucky team that we kind of had written off and probably still do in the grand scheme of it, right? But, this is clearly a team that you don't want to face, you don't want to come up against. Now, they do have obvious flaws and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, but, the fact of the matter is, not to look too far ahead, right, but they're a 14-point dog in San Francisco this weekend. Obviously when we pick head-to-head, but, you'd be dumb in my mind not to take them plus 14, right?
I'm surprised they're not playing the Eagles because they played Washington, the Giants, and the Cowboys. They
had to get a division opponent in there somewhere.
Interesting that they played the whole NFC East basically to start. But we know how to beat them. Obviously, the Cowboys can't figure it out.
True.
And obviously, I have Josh Dobbs as an MVP candidate right now. Just the way he's been balling. But everyone's just getting distracted by the Cardinals because the rumors of them tanking. They're not going to be tanking. Caleb Williams don't even want to go there, it seems like. And James Conner's a solid running back. They're a lot better. They could have beat Washington, should have beat the Giants, and they beat the Cowboys. You're looking at it they don't blow that game against the Giants. They squeak off that game against Washington. This could be an undefeated Arizona Cardinals team we could be talking about right now. pretty damn close to 2-1. That's for sure. They should have won the Giants game.
Yeah, I mean,
This is a lot better team than people give them credit for. I was actually more surprised that Houston won this week because I've been pretty vocal that Houston I thought was the worst team in football, but they beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been in a funk to start this season. I don't know what's going on there.
They haven't looked great offensively. Offensively, they've been very constipated of sorts, right? I mean, they've been pretty backed up.
Heck, I guess Denver's the worst team in football. I mean, they could be. I mean, who is?
Well, Chicago.
We're going to find out this week.
That's true. I can't believe that's actually a game being broadcast. Anyway, let's talk about some other headlines here from the weekend and stuff like that. You kind of mentioned, obviously, the Houston-Jacksonville thing, which caught people off guard. The Bills... Do the Bills have... I don't think they're, like, the best defense. They got to be the best defense right now, right? I mean, look at their 3 games in particular.
Yeah, that was the Paul Russo Nate Sharman game.
It was. Paul Russo versus pretty much all Western New York game.
Yeah. Shout out Nate. Buffalo owned Washington. But it was a good undefeated start for Washington. I mean, you enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know, they're over 500 ever since Dan Snyder left the team. So
you're onto something there.
Are you sold on Sam Howell after 3 games?
He's got more time. He's not...
I mean, it's not a big sample size, but...
Were you sold on Daniel Jones after 3 games? 4 games in this situation, actually?
When did he have that comeback versus
Just saying.
Might have been the 3rd game. But, no, I mean, you're never really sold on anyone until they prove it in the playoffs. Right. I feel like I'm not sold on Dak. Not sold on Kirk Cousins.
Kirk.
I mean, you want to buy something. You want something that's great. You don't want something that's good. So I'm not sold. I mean, I don't use the word sold on a quarterback until they really prove it. I mean, you have to make a deep playoff run for me to be sold on you. So I use that word pretty not very frequent. So it's just nice to see New England get the win this week, I guess. The Jets are really bad. They're really bad. Like Garrett Wilson, I haven't really watched too many Jet games, but I hear a lot of times this Garrett Wilson guy's good, and sucks he doesn't have a quarterback right now. It wouldn't have been interesting to see how he would have played with Rodgers. Yeah. Yeah,
the Jets are interesting. Not to interrupt, but like, did you get the notification today? Apparently, there's rumors that the defense is upset at Saleh for just backing up Zach Wilson.
Really?
Yeah. Like, things are interesting down at the Jets portion of MetLife. The way it sounds.
That was interesting that they even brought him back. I thought they were just going to cut him.
Right.
And now he's back as a starter.
Right.
He just doesn't have the trust with his teammates, it seems like. And that offense is just so dreadful. I don't know. It's going to be bad. I mean, I was thinking still that they were going to have a down year with Rodgers. Now with Wilson, heck, go for Caleb Williams, man. They're going to be one of the worst teams, especially the AFC. Their division's tough. Conference tough.
The thing with that is, like, I don't think they're going to be one of the worst teams. I mean, that defense is going to save them this year again, right? But like, how many more years can you, frankly, just piss away that defense's peak? Like, I mean, who knows? Like, they're young guys. Like, Sauce Gardner, in theory, right, could be. Well, it'd be technically 2 years, I guess, that he'd be a free agent. But like, stuff like that, where it's like, I mean, what if you're Sauce? Like, why did you want to stay at this point? You know, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's not a good situation to be in. I can tell you that. But I don't know. So we have the Bengals finally getting a victory. We have what I can only describe. Speaking of, let's talk about the AFC North here quickly before kind of moving on. The Browns appear to be the best team in that division at the moment. There is no way around it. I mean, they just frankly are at this point, right?
Steelers beat them.
Did the Steelers do anything specifically in that Raiders game that made you go, yeah, they're better than the Browns?
They beat the Browns.
Gosh, they're the Iowa of the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's pretty bad. They're great.
They're painfully average.
I like the Steelers though. I like Mike Tomlin a lot. And I put a
Is
lot,
that it?
I put a lot of trust in him, and I think him and Pete Carroll are the two best coaches in football.
Wow.
I guess Bill Belichick too, but I don't know.
Brian Dable?
He's up there, but doesn't have a lot to work with right now. I just Mike Tomlin is just so you can trust him, and I like Kenny Pickett. I do. I know he's had some rough outings here. I like George Pickens. Najee just needs to start finding some holes.
Oh boy. I don't mean to interrupt. We have an update on the Damian Lillard situation.
That's what
Jimmy Butler has released a video.
really.
Yeah, on what happened. So I'm gonna go back to you so I can at least kind of hear it a little bit here.
Yeah. So while he watches that.
Y'all need to look into the Bucks.
Oh, tampering. he's saying that he thinks the Bucks tampered to get Dame.
Tampered like during the season, obviously. You can tamper now.
I don't know.
There's no such thing as tampering in the off season.
Yeah.
Tampering is when you do it before he's a free agent or whatever.
Dude, it's the NBA. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, usually we get breaking MLB news on this show, and the NBA news is kind of nuts, especially for it's coming up here soon, so can't remember what the hell I was talking about the NFL.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to derail here.
We were talking about the Patriots, I think.
You were talking about coaches.
Oh, coaches. the Steelers. I think the Steelers are the best team in the NFC North right now. You think it's the Browns.
I do.
Who lost to the Steelers on national television, but I get your point.
I'm sorry. Can you look at it this way? And this is why I call Pittsburgh the NFL or the Iowa of the NFL. Okay, when you look at Iowa, are you like, yeah, there's a powerhouse, or do you laugh at their face because they could only put up 10 points on offense?
But the Browns without Nick Chubb.
Won. They
Yeah.
won.
Won against who? Who did they beat this week?
Tennessee.
Tennessee sucks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I love Derrick Henry. I think Mike Vrabel is going to get fired.
Pittsburgh or Cleveland might have. No, well, Cleveland does have the best defense in that division. Hands down.
Sure.
It's not close. I do not care what you say about Pittsburgh. Collectively, from front to back, Cleveland's defense is better than Pittsburgh. Okay? They, arguably, in my mind, have the best defense in the AFC. I'll put them up against the Bills and the Jets. And if Miami's ever gets theirs together. And they have an average offense. Collectively, they're better than Pittsburgh.
But who won the game?
2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, it's really recent.
Yeah.
Who won the game? The Steelers. And they'll beat them again.
Yeah. We'll see.
I like Cleveland, but
I'll be there this weekend.
this is not the best. They're not better than Pittsburgh.
Whatever.
Even though I still think Cincinnati's the best. I really do.
I know.
It's all said and done.
They did not. They did nothing to overwhelm me
It's early.
Monday night. You can keep saying it's early, man, but Burrow does not look good right now.
Personally,
He just doesn't.
I think this division is really tough. I like Baltimore as well, but Baltimore hasn't been really impressive either.
How can you say that Baltimore hasn't been impressive when you just sit, or how can you say Cincinnati's not impressive, or is impressive, when Baltimore isn't? They're the same team right now. They literally are the same team right now.
Baltimore lost to who? The Colts. Who did Cincinnati lose to?
They have 2 losses.
Cincinnati lost to Cleveland,
Yep.
and they lost to. I don't know. Cincinnati lost to.
I can't remember either.
They lost to someone. They lost
Neither
to an
one.
NFL team.
Factually correct.
Let's see if I got some service.
Here, while you pull that up, I'll
I
give
got some service. Okay, we're good.
I'll give the preface to our picks for the week.
Cincinnati lost to Baltimore.
So, okay. There you have it.
I didn't say I'll retract my words. I did not say Cincinnati's been impressive. I said when it's all said and done. I think that's what I said. Roll the tape. When it's all
I
said
can't from here.
when it's all said and done, I think Cincinnati would be the best. I never said they were impressive.
Anyway, let's move on to our picks.
How we do?
We were both 10-6 last week.
Got a lot of similar picks.
Very similar. There are only 2 differences, and we split 1-on-1 on them. So that leaves me at 26-22 on the year. Nick goes to a double up on the 500, 32-16 on the year.
Wow.
So
67%.
yeah, not bad. Not bad for you. All right, first game of Thursday Night Football. Detroit at Green Bay.
I mean, can you believe it's week 4 already?
Kind of crazy.
It's already the 6th week of college football, too.
Week 5.
At Green Bay, I like the Packers.
Damn it.
I like the Packers.
I won. So this actually was the toughest game for me to pick, honestly, because I really wanted to take Detroit. But everything for me is just like, this seems like it's just like one of those games where they do a Detroit thing. I took Green Bay too. Like I said, it was the toughest game for me to pick, honestly, on this slate. Looking at it.
Jordan Love's been playing well.
Yeah. Sunday, 9:30 a.m.
On Toy Story.
First game over the seas in the UK. Atlanta at Jacksonville. Jacksonville 3-point favorite.
The London Jaguars.
They'll be there 2 straight weeks. So, because they got the Bills next weekend over there. But, God, I really, I'm taking Jacksonville, and it's only because Atlanta still has done nothing to, impress me. But, I guess because they are, in theory, the better team, they should win. But, I don't know.
Did you hear this game's on Toy Story?
Yes, the Disney Plus thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. I like Jacksonville in front of their home fans of London, the UK. I like Jaguars. Big. Jaguars big.
Jaguars big. All right.
Yeah.
First of the 1 o'clock window, Miami at Buffalo. Buffalo a 3-point favorite.
It's a big game.
It is.
Why is this at 1? What is this, Michigan, Ohio State?
It's the granddaddy of them all.
Give me them. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Wow.
Dolphins. I think they're going to go in there and make a statement. They almost beat them in the snow game last year. They almost beat them in the playoffs last year. They're going to do it on Sunday. They're going to beat them.
I'm on Buffalo, but this is the case of, and I brought this up on the Bills podcast, Bills Weekly. If Miami was home, I'd probably be taking Miami here. It's just a case of I think home field is going to play a big factor here to a degree. But it's going to be a really close. I wouldn't be surprised if that 3-point line is spot on, last second type stuff. So Minnesota at Carolina. Carolina 3.5-point home dog. I'm taking Minnesota, but again, it's one of those it's just because I think they're the better team. But kind of the same case I think with that Jacksonville pick, right? Where it'd be oh, they lost. I'm not surprised.
Well, Minnesota didn't win the battle of the 0-2s. Here's the battle of the 0-3s.
Yep.
I'm going to go opposite. I like Andy Dalton and the Panthers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
With Bryce Young, I don't know. With Andy Dalton, reliable quarterback.
With Andy Dalton, I do know.
Hey, they should still have a statue of him in Buffalo. He got him in the playoffs that one year.
That's true.
First time. Yeah, I'm going Carolina in this game.
Our next of the 1 o'clock games, Nick, the one everybody has circled. Denver at Chicago. Chicago a 3-point dog at home.
What are you taking?
You want me to go first? I just want back-to-back first for the boy. Denver.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to bounce back. Chicago's trash.
Is this game going to be something dumb 6-3? Something
Oh,
like
no,
that?
no. I think this will be a high-scoring game.
You actually do think so?
Yeah, I think it'll be back and forth. I think you're going to see a 28-24 game. If that is
Really?
high-scoring. I think it's high-scoring.
For them, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some scoring in this game.
All right. Baltimore at Cleveland. Cleveland a 2.5-point favorite.
Baltimore and Cleveland, the two people who can contend for the Steelers in the division. You take it Browns, don't you?
You tell me your pick first.
Ravens.
I'm a Browns guy this weekend.
Why?
I'll be at the game.
So you're trying to win this competition, aren't
The
you?
Browns are the better team. The Browns defense is so good. I can't wait for them to prove you wrong on Sunday, Nick. Can't
I
wait.
think the Browns could be the second best team in almost every division in football. Not this division. I think this is the best division in football. Here's what I'll say. Best competitive division in football.
All right.
These aren't the best teams in football, but the four of them are all about the same, but Pittsburgh's just slightly a little bit better.
Speaking of Pittsburgh at Houston. Houston a 3-point dog.
They better not lose this. I'm going Steelers, baby.
But why?
Mike Tomlin. Houston's not winning 2 in a row. I didn't think they were going to win at all this year.
Well, I have Houston winning 2 in a row. I'm taking Houston.
Why?
Call the hunch.
Why?
Call it a hunch.
I'm
doing it.
Hunch.
I'm doing it. I'm taking Houston. Home. Little point action. Oh, yeah. The Rams at the Colts. Colts are a 1-point favorite.
Rams have been kind of disappointing last couple weeks after the big win in Seattle.
Seattle.
I like the Colts. I don't like them this week. I got the Rams.
Wow.
Taking Puka.
We have a lot of differences between me and you this week at the moment. I'm going Colts, yeah.
Sit back.
Gardner Minshew. Although Richardson did practice today, so
All right, boy.
either way. Yeah. But yeah, the Rams have been pretty unimpressive overall, so.
First week they were.
Not out of the gate, though. I mean, it took them a while. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans a 3-point favorite at home, but it's going to be Jameis revenge game the way it seems. So I don't know.
How did New Orleans blow that game?
Yeah, I don't.
Where is this game?
It's in New Orleans.
I'll take New Orleans.
I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Why? I'll give you a third why.
a
Why?
third. Healthy quarterback one with Baker. I think collectively on offense they're a better team. Defensively, it's a little bit of a toss-up. So I don't know. I just don't think the Saints.
Saints defense is
The
pretty
Saints didn't look great. To be fair, I don't know if they looked great with Derek Carr out there until he got hurt, but like they looked better with Carr out there than they did Jameis. So, yeah. Washington at Philly. Philly an 8-point favorite at home. I'll save you the breath on this one, Nick. I'm taking Philly. Oh no!
I'm
Oh,
trying
no.
to win. I'm
I've
trying
seen
to
this
win.
before.
I'll take Philly. I don't want to, but I'll take
I love how I've seen that look before from you. Last on the 1 o'clock, the Bengals at the Titans. Titans a 2.5-point dog.
it. Titans are trash. Even the Bengals.
Yeah, Cincy as well, please. And thank you. All right, we move into the late window, 4:05 game. The Raiders at the Chargers. The Chargers are 5.5-point favorite.
Chargers 0-3.
Yeah, they are. No, wait.
No, they won.
Yeah, they're 1-2.
Where is it?
It's at the Chargers.
It don't matter. They don't have any fans anyway to come to the game.
Says the team that they're playing in the Raiders.
Yeah, is there anybody going to be there? Take the Chargers.
Yeah, this one I wasn't.
I would be surprised if Raiders win, though.
Yeah, I was the same thought process. I'm taking the Chargers, but I wouldn't be surprised. First of the 4:25 games, New England at Dallas. Dallas a 6.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Cowboys to rebound, but New England has not done anything to impress me anyway. So
I don't have my stats in front of me, but I don't think Bill Belichick has lost to the Cowboys very often.
really,
I know Brady was owned them for a while there.
sorry.
Give me them. Give me New England. Give me them. They're taking down Dallas. Dallas going back to 500.
All right, and the aforementioned Cardinals at 49ers. Cardinals are 14-point dog on the road.
Well, I think if the Cardinals win this, Josh Dobbs is obviously MVP. But I'm going to take the Niners.
Yeah, same. Same, but if we were to bet the spread, I'm taking the 14.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it.
Speaking of large spreads, our Sunday night game. Kansas City at the Jets. The Jets are getting 10 at home. I'm taking Kansas City, by the way. Pretty easy.
I'm thinking this one's going to be close. Yeah, I would take plus 10. I think the T Swift factor is a distraction.
What?
You don't agree?
No?
I think it's a huge distraction. But I got the Chiefs winning this game.
Lastly, back to one Monday night game a week. Seattle at the Giants. The Giants are a 1-point favorite at home.
Good.
Back.
I had a doubleheader I didn't care for. Too much football.
Wasn't good anyway.
This is a big Felice household game. Seahawks at the Giants. Taking the Giants. Why not? Why not?
Okay, I'm taking Seattle.
Let's see if we can catch them.
By the way, the second time this year that MetLife has played host to back-to-back primetime games for the teams.
Wow.
Week 1.
Yeah.
So,
2 nights in a row.
how about that? All right, so college time. Nick, your poor Notre Dame fighting Irish.
You're champion.
You couldn't handle taking down those lousy Buckeyes. But in terms of like actual game, it was a great game. Like that's classic, in my mind, like powerhouse college football, right? And from that angle, it was great. I mean, the ending though was nuts. I was on Notre Dame all week. It was brutal.
It's Ohio versus the world.
Oh God.
Oh
God.
Obviously, I've
Not this again.
been pissed ever since Lou Holtz called me.
Lou Holtz called you. Oh, I know what you're doing.
I mean, how easy is it to get in Ryan Day's head that an 85, whatever Lou Holtz is, year old man got in his head? I know Lou Holtz was an Ohio State assistant coach way back in the day, but his allegiance lies with Notre Dame. The Notre Dame got it in his blood, so you can't be surprised that he would take Notre Dame's side and expect them to dominate this game. I think, obviously, the 10 men on the field at the end there when they needed the last stop with 5 seconds, whatever the clock, obviously was a big loss. But I think the biggest mistake they made was...
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I have some late breaking Damian Lillard news.
We know. We got traded.
No. It's ever evolving. Damian Lillard will now be living 30 minutes away from the National Mustard Museum.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, anyway... Thanks for that. I think the biggest mistake Notre Dame made was after they stopped Ohio State, which was their second to last drive before the game winner, and Ohio State was stopped. I don't get why they went out wide. Notre Dame got the big stop, and they needed to run out the clock. And when Notre Dame decided to pass there, and he got sacked, set up like second 15, felt like he had to pass. The time management, they just didn't kill the clock good enough there. I feel like that was the biggest mistake. And then Ohio State doesn't call the timeout for some reason, and then they take the delayed game penalty. I get that when you're on the 50-yard line, but when you're on your own 30, why are you giving Ohio State those 5 yards? And then the last drive, they almost caught the interception. They let that guy catch that ball down at the 1-yard line. They stopped him a couple times before the game winner. I mean, Notre Dame had their chances to win this game, and they just didn't. And I mean, it goes back to the Florida State game. I think it was in 2014 they lost. They lost the Miami game that one year. They've lost a lot of big games. They lost to Georgia that one year. They lost to Texas that one year. They lost to Ohio State last year. They lost to Ohio State, of course, this year. Of course, even Michigan back in the day. They just always lose these big games, and I am sick of it, Paul. It's not like the Alabama game in the national title game and also the Final Four where they get blown out. These games, these regular season big time games, are all close. and they just can't win them at the end. They all seem to be close, great games, college football class. Like, these are some of the greatest in the last decade. These are some of the greatest college football games in the regular season in its history, and Notre Dame is on the wrong end every time. The only one they won was the COVID year when Clemson didn't have Trevor Lawrence playing that one game, and DJ, who's your mama, was the quarterback there. And we actually won that game. That was like the only time Notre Dame's ever won a big game. Clearly, they can't win the BCS bowl games. They lose.
By the way, that DJ, whatever his name is Oregon State's DJ Uiagalelei, who is very good.
Very good.
Leaving the Beavs.
We beat them that day.
What did you think of the 10 men on the field?
Honestly, I didn't even notice it, obviously, live. Well, it would have been nice, because usually you try to get as many people you can on that line.
Right.
A little disappointed, but like I said, that's not even the worst part. The worst part was the time management. They could have ran the clock out, and they would pass it, and he got sacked. You can't even take a sack. You got to throw the ball away. I think that was the bigger than them having 10 men on the field. I mean, sure, they're both bad, but just they had it. They stopped Ohio State with very few time left. They just couldn't run out the clock. And then they took the delayed game penalty on your own 30. What are you doing? You do that in the 50 to get me some more room. They gave Ohio State 5 more yards after Ohio State didn't even call a timeout. They didn't even have to use that timeout. It's just they lose all the time in these big games, and I'm sick of it. They got a couple more coming up. USC, Clemson, not as big anymore. But you can't sleep on Duke this week.
Clear though. The game day's there.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
By the way, what a novel concept it is, running the ball in at the goal line to win a game. Crazy how that always works when people do it. Pete Carroll.
Nah, doesn't Pete Carroll.
Wow, that was Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson called the audible.
That's what I mean, system quarterback. Anyway, I do want to pose a question to you here before we get into my picks and we kind of move on to our last
Yes,
topic.
I think Syracuse is a national championship team.
No, my question was, in its final year, because it's very apparent to me that the Pac-12 is actually like good this year, collectively, right? Are we undervaluing the Pac-12 and overhyping the SEC? Because that Bama Ole Miss game was bad, and I know Bama got the win and they needed to get the win, but they won ugly again.
He always beats Lincoln.
I mean, Florida ends up pulling away from Charlotte, but it was not a good game for them either. I mean, it's Georgia. I'm not convinced Georgia's gonna be this big title contender that we think that they actually are. It's the SEC down, and we're undervaluing, or we're overselling the SEC and undervaluing like the Pac-12.
Here's what I'll say: the Pac-12 is the best it's ever been, and this is it is sad to see it go, but this is the best way for it to go out.
Absolute chaos.
Yes. Here's what I'll say about the SEC. The SEC is the best conference still, but it's the same SEC teams every year. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's LSU, and it's Auburn. They have been the only SEC teams to ever do anything. The rest of them suck. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, they're terrible. They never do anything. It has always been Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, and occasionally Auburn like that one year. But Auburn's been decent.
Not even Florida?
Like that year, Central Florida beat Auburn.
Right. Not even Florida?
No.
No?
Tim Tebow was a long time ago. Get
what,
over it.
What about what I call zombie Arkansas?
No. Arkansas? No. Missouri?
Texas A&M? Jimbo!
Texas A&M is me. No, not Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel won one game.
What about the future, Texas and Oklahoma?
See, now Oklahoma's done something. Texas has been trash for all year.
I'm going to switch the camera back to me really quickly.
But hook 'em horns.
Horns down.
Horns. But anyway, the SEC has always been the same teams. The rest of it can go. Like, nobody wants to watch. I keep bringing up the team that keeps coming to my mind is Mississippi State. What has Mississippi State done? R.I.P.
Dak.
R.I.P. Yeah, Dak.
Greg Leach, my guy.
Yeah, R.I.P. Leach. No, the conference is so overrated overall. Like they say everybody's good in the SEC. That is not the truth. But they're still the best. And the Pac-12, as good as they are still not better than it. It's still not better than the SEC until proven otherwise. That's where I'll leave it as. I think that was your question.
Yeah.
I think your question was to ask me if the Pac-12
Are we under that, more or less underselling? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I think I think the Pac-12's getting a lot of credit lately.
Well, they're starting to only because of like the Dion thing, right? But like, I mean, Wazoo goes out there, beats Oregon State, and those two teams should still be ranked, obviously, no matter
Utah's
what.
always underrated.
Utah, by the way, who's going out there and again, it's a case of winning early with them, but they're winning with technically their third-string quarterback, right?
The Pac-2 championship was cool.
Arizona's undefeated right now, and I think it's a little bit of just the fact that they've played a very collectively weak non-conference, but I mean, it's hard. Look, 4-0 is tough. I mean, you got to go out there and show up, right? USC, UCLA obviously is good at minimum.
Kentucky's another terrible one
for the Pac-12 or SEC.
The SEC.
You know, Stanford's like really one of those lone blemishes. Arizona State too, I guess. But like Cal's actually, I don't know if Cal will go bowling, but they're better than I thought they were going to be. And obviously Washington. Okay, I'm leaning more and more into thinking like we might be getting only one team from the SEC, one team from the Big Ten, and then, I mean, depending on what happens, it's possible we get two Pac-12 teams in the playoff. Well, jeez, still going in there. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of where I fall on that, but yeah, Syracuse too. I mean,
it's Clemson week, baby.
Yeah.
Too bad
it'll be interesting because, well, I can bet it this week.
Too bad we can't go to Grisser like last year.
True.
That was a heartbreaking game.
Anyway, let me get into my picks. I had my first in 2 weeks. Didn't go 4-1. That's why I went 3-1-1 for the first time. So the overall is up to 17-9-1. My 5 picks for this week, and we are splattered everywhere across the board. Arkansas State, they're at UMass, getting a point. I'm taking Arkansas State. Old Dominion's at Marshall for a little Fun Belt action. Marshall, a 14-point favorite. Taking Marshall. In the MAC, I got Northern Illinois at Toledo. Taking Toledo, home favorite, minus 13.5. In the SEC, LSU is at Ole Miss. I'm going to be taking LSU minus 2.5. And then out west in the Pac-12, Washington at Arizona. I'm taking Washington, laying the 18 points. So, like I said, I'm splattered everywhere. I got, I guess, really kind of technically like 2 Sun Belts, a MAC, an SEC, and a Pac-12. So, we represent in Division I, baby. But, yeah.
Mississippi State is so terrible.
Anything else?
Yeah, the SEC is, I think the SEC is trash.
Okay, fair enough. Before we get out here, I do want to talk a couple minutes. Big Brother, we're more or less halfway through this season. Big Brother 25.
Did you watch Sunday's episode?
I didn't bother with it. I saw everything that happened online anyway. So, but how are we feeling about this season? I had a lot of hope, and it's still one of the better ones I think of the seasons I've watched. But I think with this quote unquote mid-season twist we got going on here with the double eviction and going into obviously a battle back without them calling it a battle back.
Yeah.
I personally just don't see the point of having why double eviction had to be done then, in my opinion.
Here's what I'll say about the battle back. What's great about the battle back is that it takes like 4 weeks for people to get eliminated, and a lot of game can change in 4 weeks.
Right.
These guys, not only did they just go home, they both went home on the same day.
Right.
So nothing has happened in the game to change their opinion of these players coming back into the game. It's just we're going to take them out once they're back in. Like, you go 4 weeks, somebody comes in and say, we'll just use Ed.
Well, I was going to say Cliff, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll say Cliff. But even he came back right away. But
Yeah, that's true. He was the last one.
yeah, but we'll say that season, David, he came back. So much has happened since David, even though that year they were all in the house technically, so it's not a great example. But anyway, it's so much the game of like Big Brother and Survivor and all them. They changed from day to day, from week to week. You might have wanted David out when you got him back out at the beginning of the game. Doesn't mean you want to get him out now because you see alliances starting to shift and you want to go at each other. You might use him as a number. They just took out, no spoilers here, but they just took out Cameron and Jared literally last week. They come back in. Nothing's happened in the game since. And they're just going to take them out again if they get the chance. I don't like this battle back. I don't care for it. I don't care for it. I love battle backs. I love giving people a second chance to win the game. I don't like the right away battle back. I just don't care for it. If it was like a couple weeks from now and they just kept building up, like say the next person won, the next person won.
But more though, like than that, like you bring up a good point. Like whoever comes back in is more than likely just going to be heading right back out anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know the history. I don't think anyone's ever won Big Brother after battling back in. Cliff might have been the closest.
Yeah, and he was what,
fourth place.
Fourth, yeah. So I mean,
I don't know the history, but
it's one of those things where, like, I don't think it's going to tank the season per se, but like I feel like it was a good theory maybe in concept, but like I don't know. Like to me, like the only way this works is if you allow, say, Corey to be able to battle in HOH again, because like honestly, like his HOH run in the double eviction like in theory could just mean nothing. I mean, in theory, it kind of already does, right? Because like only one person's going home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of just the way I feel, in essence. I mean, as it stands right now, like who do you think's gonna win? I mean, I
think he just won't go home. I like Jag. I think he's in a great spot.
I think he's got like
he's
got to win HOH here, man. Like
I think if he takes like Blue to the end, he takes him and Blue go to the end. I think he wins the game. Be interesting if it was him and Matt. I mean, there's a lot of games still left to play.
The interesting part is between the two of them, they're both kind of playing a very loose game again. All of a sudden, I don't think Matt's going to get very much further. To be honest,
he needs to work with Sri, even though he's close to Sri. But
yeah, but like the thing with that is like she'll just dump him immediately. I mean,
Sri's game's going to be coming to an end here soon. I think.
You would imagine, right?
Yeah.
I want to agree with you and say Jag, but like he just doesn't win HOHs. Like, I think it's probably going to be. I mean, the tough part is like Nicole hasn't done anything, like in terms of comp wise. She just has.
She's almost like she's gonna go to the final three.
Kind of like
when would you take her out?
Nicole, eh?
Yeah. When would you take Nicole out? Like, I just feel like she's just going to be in that final three.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Sari gets to the end. Because...
I mean, her bridge is burned with Felicia.
You know how final three works. You have to win 2 challenges to win the final HOH. She can't win anything.
No.
How is she supposed to win 2 challenges? I just don't think anyone's going to take her to the end. If she gets to the final 3, I just don't see her in the final 2. Nobody's going to... Unless it's Jared.
Right.
But Jared to get to the end is going to be like an uphill climb. He's more hated than Cameron right now in that house. Mm-hmm. Jared, you think Cameron will be gone in 1 week? Jared will definitely be gone in 1 week.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, unless he won HOH.
Unless he wins that HOH. But even then, there's still a lot of rounds left.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, well, we'll circle back here in another 50 days and talk the rest of Big Brother, I guess. So
it's going to be cool. Survivor and Big Brother on at the same time.
Amazing race.
Amazing race as well.
So that'll do it for Fresh Takes and for today. Nick, who are you shouting out today?
I'm going to shout out my friend Josh.
Shout out Josh.
Won his first fantasy baseball championship this week.
I can't believe you did it without Jay.
Yeah, J.J. and Shohei Ohtani. Pretty impressive stuff. His fantasy football skills have been pretty bad. But shout out Josh for being this year's 2023 Jerry 1 Fantasy Baseball Champion.
That's true. I forgot about that. Even though it was 2 days ago. Can't believe you did it without J.J. though.
JHI was his greatest pick of all time.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, we'll be back again next Wednesday. Good luck, everybody. If you pick your football, if not, do you, I guess. Either way.
We don't really care.
No. Enjoy the week, everybody. We'll talk with everybody next week.